Hi, I'm Rob King and welcome to the retrospective for the Strawberry and Lime Cider. Well, look at that lovely colour, that is pretty good. Cheers! It has been 5 weeks since we first tasted this cider, so this is our chance to take another look and reconsider our results from that time. Now this is still very limey, however it has mellowed just a bit. So 5 weeks later, it is much more drinkable than it was at first. In this retrospective, we're going to take a look at the vital statistics, we'll consider the costs, and then look at the lessons learned, of which there are several for this one. Starting with the schedule then, we started on Valentine's Day. Now this was because I was preparing the mead, you can check that one out separately, for a special occasion that evening. However, if we look at the schedule, the fermentation did take quite a long time, and we'll come back to that in the lessons learned when we consider yeast health. Then we come to flavouring. Flavouring ran for 14 days, but I think we cut that short. I should have run it for a full month. It really didn't have the full chance to get all of the flavours out, plus of course I overdid the lime. All in all then, it's been 3.5 months since we started this homebrew, and 5 weeks since we previously tasted it. Now onto the statistics, it came out at a delicious 8.5%. You really would not realise it was quite that high an alcohol percentage. The aroma is still lovely strawberry and lime, and it is not at all harsh. It is a very smooth and does not seem particularly alcoholic. The volume though was a bit disappointing, 3.3 litres came out at the end. Moving it through primary and secondary and additions were probably the reason for this, but I was aiming for something closer to 4 litres. Moving on to costs then, this one's always very interesting, and the two primary ingredients of cost was the strawberries followed by the apple juice. Given they're the two main ingredients, that is a good thing. There are a couple of ingredients I didn't include in the costings, but they were pretty minor. Tea bags, flavour drops and that old yeast were not included in the costs. The total came to £9.86. Breaking that down then into a cost per bottle, most of the bottles were 330ml, which came out at 99p each. That's not bad at all. If you're more of a 500ml person, then that comes out at £1.49. It's almost like I'm in sales. If you wanted to price it per litre, that also £2.99. Moving on to lessons learned, and lesson number 1 is the yeast. Now I did choose to use a very old packet of yeast, and this was a very slow fermentation as a result. One of the things I could have considered, knowing that the yeast was an old packet, was rehydrate and add some Go Firm to start it up. This might have helped us complete fermentation more quickly. The second lesson learned is more of a point of note. I chose to aim for about an 8% ABV and came out at 8.5% with the addition of sugar. However, I did not need to add that sugar and could have left the sugar addition out, and this would have naturally come in at around 5% ABV. So there's a choice there if you wanted a slightly lower ABV. Lesson number 3 then is carbonation, and I chose to carbonate in the keg to be able to make sure that I got the carbonation I was looking for. However, I do think I was having a problematic regulator and it wasn't really giving me the readings it should have done. One way or another, I should have added more CO2 or taken longer over carbonation to make sure I got it to the level that I was looking for, particularly before I bottled, because there was an opportunity to just let carbonation continue before I moved to counter pressure bottle filling. My mistake. Lesson learned. Lesson number 4 is limey, and being rather too limey in the final result. I think I really only needed the zest of a single lime, and I certainly didn't need to add the lime juice at the end. Overall, that is starting to mellow now in the bottle, but at the time it was just too much. Lesson number 5 then is glycerine or glycerol. I like to add this in because I do find that it gives it a better overall mouthfeel in the final result. It can also improve sweetness, but that's not the reason that I add it. However, I do tend to err on the side of caution, and I added only 2 milliliters for a 5 litre batch. In actual fact, I could add a lot more, and I am going to consider an experiment in the future where I do just that to see if I can understand better the impact of a larger dose of glycerin. Lesson number 6 then is stabilisation. This is the first time I have ever stabilised a drink, and it seemed to work really well. Now, stabilisation was achieved through the use of potassium sorbate and potassium or sodium metabisulfate. These two additions help to stop the fermentation continuing and allowing additional sugars, in this case the additional fruit, from restarting fermentation and just generating more alcohol instead of just imparting the flavours, which is what we were looking for. And the strawberry aroma comes through terrifically. It just is overwhelmed in the final result through the use of too much lime. Lesson number 7 then is the ability to adjust as you go along, and in this case I tried to do that through the addition of some additional strawberry flavour drops. In practice though, I was massively too conservative and they really didn't have any of the effect that I was looking for. However, something to keep in your pocket is the use of things like flavour drops should things go a little south on the day. Well, that's it for our retrospective today. Cheers everyone, thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe. Good health.